I just looked at Terence Crawford's latest video. Terence Crawford, 20 pounds of muscle, my ass. Terence Crawford looks finished. And I knew that was going to happen because Terence Crawford's metabolism and its strength. You got him walking around maybe close to 180 or something like that. But as he works out, his body's going to do what it does. It's going to get lean. And I think it benefits Terence Crawford. Actually, we don't want him stepping in the ring going up to 180.
Posture's power. And Canelo is a guy that has power but is constantly working on. There's a great clip of him working with Andy Ruiz. You know that shield, that weird hand shield they hold up for hooks?
Yeah.
And he's like, this is not for speed. This is just power. Just power. He's like, don't try to be fast with this. Use power. And he's seeing that, bro, he hit.
When boxers step into the spotlight of a mega fight, words of warning often circulate. And this time, the cautionary voice comes from none other than who recently shared his blunt assessment of what Terence Crawford might face if he dares to step into the ring with Canelo. Alvarez Charlo didn't sugarcoat his message. His statement was direct. Crawford has no idea how hard Canelo hits beyond the headline.
All right, my brother fought Canelo, not me. I like Crawford in this fight, and he gets to stay big. But my brother even told me that was his mistake that he made. He thought going up in weight, I gotta get massive, I gotta get big to beat Canelo. It made him slower, it made his reflexes slower. He'll tell you himself. He didn't feel like the Jermall Charlo that y'all seen him fight Tony Harrison. Crawford, I feel like that's the same thing as that. You want to get big to try to absorb Canelo punches and all this, but that's not, technically, that's not the Crawford that we're gonna see. And then Crawford going up there to fight Canelo at 68, when he's not a 68 pounder, where's the motivation? Y'all gotta think about it like
big
that.
for Crawford is big.
Well, the money is good, but I don't expect Terence Crawford to be the Terence Crawford that was knocking out Gamboa, doing all. I don't expect that type of.
This warning opens up a much bigger conversation about styles, risks, and the unforgiving reality of boxing at the elite level. Jermall Charlo isn't speaking from the outside looking in. He's felt Canelo's power firsthand. When Charlo fought Canelo Alvarez in 2023, many expected him to pose a real challenge. But what happened? Charlo was forced to fight cautiously, often backing up.
Jermall did give Crawford problems. I favor Canelo, not by a lot, but I do favor him. I just think that, I think the Skull fight was just a bad style. And I think Canelo was like, why force the issue? You know what I mean? I'm up, this guy's running, I'm not gonna take a chance. So I think that it was that kind of fight for Canelo. But Jermall did give Crawford problems, you know what I'm saying? And where I felt like, damn, at 54, he gave you problems. 68 is different.
And at times simply surviving rather than engaging. After tasting Canelo's punches, Charlo quickly realized the difference between sparring, theory, and reality. The way he tells it, Canelo's power isn't just about brute strength. It's the timing, the accuracy, and the way he delivers shots that wear opponents down.
So you've been in there with Crawford, you've been there with Canelo. What can you take from sparring both of them to gauge what's gonna happen in September?
Preparation is gonna definitely be everything. Crawford adjusting to the 168 pound division. I know he's been sitting at a heavier weight for a while, but he's been showing his training and stuff. So that's definitely gonna help him. Canelo experience, but then you got Crawford, he got a great experience as well. It's gonna be a great fight, it's gonna be a good chess match. I expect a great fight. If I had to favor somebody, I would just pick Canelo because just because of the weight disparity. Canelo is naturally sits really well at 168. And it's just always tough for a guy.
That's why when Charlo warns Crawford, fans listen. He knows how deceptive the Mexican superstar's punches can be. Now let's be clear. Terence Crawford is no ordinary fighter. He's a generational talent. From dismantling Sean Porter to utterly destroying Errol Spence Jr., Crawford has shown that he's the complete package. He switches stances effortlessly, times his opponents with surgical precision, and carries a mean streak once he smells weakness. But here's the catch. Crawford has spent most of his career at lightweight.
But it's one of the most craftiest dudes that Canelo's gonna be in the ring with. Hand speed, IQ, long arms, speed, power. You know, switch hitter. I just think that it's gonna be a lot for. It's gonna be something.
Super lightweight and welterweight. Even his recent jump to 154 pounds still keeps him in the lower divisions. Canelo. He's campaigned at a middleweight, super middleweight, and even light heavyweight. The size, the weight, the physicality, all of it favors the Mexican champion. This is what makes Charlo's warning hit harder.
Is it maybe the weight too much for Terence Crawford?
You know, there's been men that beat people like Armstrong and McLaren and these guys. They're beating people bigger than them, 2 divisions bigger than them. It's not impossible, you know. Henry Armstrong's a featherweight, and he beat the middleweight champ. At 130 pounds, he beat the welterweight champ. Then he fought a draw with the middleweight champ. So I think size.
He knows Crawford has the skills, but in boxing, sometimes skills aren't enough when raw size and power become overwhelming. What separates Canelo is his ability to cut off the ring, and his passive, methodical breakdown of opponents. He doesn't always look flashy in the early rounds, but he applies constant, subtle pressure until his opponents either tire or make a mistake.
No hesitation. No hesitation.
I want to see that fight.
Big bud. Big bud. We're going to have to roll Canelo up. We're going to have to pack him up, baby.
But how hard is the jump from 47 to 68?
I mean, listen, it's a very big challenge. But what I said, with his skills and the way he's adapted to the size, brother, when I seen him stand toe-to-toe and side by side, I said, game over. Terence Crawford. And listen, don't be surprised if they stop it. I'm telling you.
Who?
Don't be surprised
if Canelo stops Crawford.
Terence Crawford stops Canelo.
I wouldn't be surprised.
And when they do, that's when his power shows its full effect. When Charlo says Crawford doesn't know how hard Canelo hits, he's pointing to this hidden danger. Fighters often don't realize the difference until it's too late. That's where the Charlo warning becomes crucial. If someone like Charlo, who is naturally bigger than Crawford, struggled to withstand Canelo's shots, what happens when a smaller man takes the same punches?
Not a regular guy. You know what I'm saying? He's special. And, you know, Canelo, he's a top-notch fighter, world-class fighter. Still on the pound-for-pound list, I'm sure towards somewhere near the top. And it's exciting. You know, Terence is freakishly strong. He can punch. He's got good crack. He can fight from both ways. Orthodox, southpaw. He can fight at mid-range, close range, outside. And he can fight going both ways. So it's exciting. It's exciting. It's a big question mark on the end of it, though. So that's why, you know, I'm sure all of us are excited for that bell to ring and, you know, be able to find it.
For Crawford, the risk is monumental. One wrong move, and he could be seriously hurt. Unlike welterweights, where he can walk through punches to counter, against Canelo, he might not have that luxury, the reward. If Crawford were to defeat Canelo, it would catapult him into all-time great status. We're talking about one of the biggest pound-for-pound legacies in history. He would be remembered not just as a dominant welterweight, but as a giant slayer who moved up and toppled one of the most feared champions of this generation.
For boxing.
Yeah,
Who gonna win the fight, man? That's coming up, the biggest fight in boxing.
Crawford.
Huh?
Crawford. I'm not hesitating. Crawford. I'm not even hesitating. Crawford.
You gonna stand on that all the way to September 13th?
I love Canelo. Crawford will beat Canelo. Crawford will beat Canelo by decision. I can't see anybody knocking out Canelo Alvarez. But I do believe that if you can box and you can move, that you can beat Canelo. You can outpoint him.
That's right.
When I think about Canelo, one of the things that I don't like about Canelo is despite his greatness.
That's why Crawford entertains the idea despite the warnings. Greatness often requires Charlo's warning also stems from his own disappointment. Many criticized him after his performance against Canelo, accusing him of being too defensive, too hesitant, and not giving the fans the war they expected. But Charlo's explanation was simple.
Look,
I like betting fights or making picks, and I'm usually pretty good on all my picks, even when I had the podcast. But sometimes because people look for that fighter, that former world champion, and they like want to pick them apart if they get it wrong. This is one of the fights where I want to sit back and watch and not worry about my pick. Canelo is a small middleweight, super middleweight. He just is. But he's also showed that he could go up in weight class, and he's a great fighter. I mean, yeah, that's it. Crawford is...
When he felt Canelo's power early, survival instincts kicked in. He realized that trading recklessly could lead to a knockout. That cautio, N, is exactly what he's projecting onto Crawford.
So talented. He's got so much ability in boxing, his boxing ability. And he's a bigger guy too. He's almost every bit as big as Canelo, right? So that's what makes it tough. Like, yeah, Canelo's used to fighting guys coming down from 200 probably, you know, at light heavyweight. And Crawford ain't. But it's just too hard to pick on that because of Crawford's ability and boxing skills. I'm not going off of Canelo's last fight. You know, the guy he was fighting was in survival mode pretty much. He was just fighting not to get knocked out. When you fight a guy like that, you're not going to look good, right? I don't care what anybody says. When you fight a guy that's running around trying to survive, it makes it hard. So I don't go off of that, but this fight is going to be interesting. I mean, I would almost have to kind of lean with Canelo.
In his eyes, Crawford, no matter how skilled, might fall into the same trap. Crawford's camp, however, remains confident. They argue that size alone